Previously on Strike, the perfect ending to an episode/book. I sure hope nothing bad happens. Picking up where the last episode left off, Robin and Strike are on their totally not a date. The great story of Strike and Charlotte's family remains from the book, but not the cuteness about Robin's dad being a professor of sheep. Yes, that's right, non-book readers, Robin's dad, this man, is a professor of sheep medicine, production and reproduction, which is why we are talking about sheep at the table. Their non-date starts out all cute and light-hearted, just two friends having drinks, until Robin admits that she wanted to end her marriage to Twat You immediately, and Strike goes on a beautiful face journey of regret. Robin chats about her pals trying to set her up, and when Strike asks how it's going, Robin says, "None of them are you, and you're my soulmate, and we should totally be together forever and ever and ever." At least, that's what she said in the version I saw. I don't know which version you guys were all watching for. Strike finally realises he should have maybe made a move by now. Knowing him, he'll do it at the correct time, and not while they're both a bit drunk and not without having had a grown-up conversation about what he wants. Right? His attitude towards women in the time Robin has known him has taught Robin that shagging around is all he's after, so really I have zero sympathy for him here. It's still hard to watch though.
Watch this, Lise. You can actually pinpoint the second when his heart rips in half. And now.
After that heartache, it's back to business. Strike is following people they've nicknamed Legs and Groomer around the Tate, giving them an excuse to use this great transition from Ophelia in the water to Robin exhausted in the office. Future murder victim and co-creator of the Ink Black Heart cartoon, Edie Ledwell, interrupts Robin's nap.
Are you up to seeing someone? I can tell her to come back.
Is she not a...
Do you want me to ask her?
Edie is jittery, stressed and clearly desperate, but the Strike and Ellacott agency is booked and busy, so Robin has to turn her case down. Fans of the cartoon, anime and Moorhouse have created an online game that mainly seems to function as a chat room for fans. It's a toxic fandom, and Edie believes that anime is heading up a harassment campaign against her. Edie specifically came for help from Robin, not Strike like everyone else does, and asked Robin why her name isn't on the door.
It's just a door.
Edie fangirling and advocating for Robin's equal standing in the agency, however briefly, sets up a nice little connection between the two, and Robin begins researching the case despite not having the resources to take the case on fully. New detective Midge Greenstreet drops some lore on the Ink Black Heart, which she learned via her cheating scumbag ex-girlfriend. I can't be the only person who wants to watch at least one full episode of this show, right? Edie cleverly leaves her folder of evidence behind at the office.
Did she leave an address?
No, and she's done it on purpose, hasn't she?
Strike is avoiding working with Robin because his pride is heavy bruised. This man has never been rejected in his life, bless him. Robin nips at the Edie Ledwell's agent to return the folio of evidence and is gifted a cute little illustration Edie has done for her, furthering this connection the two have. I like this change from the book because, whilst we can't read Robin's internal monologue detailing her feelings of guilt for not having taken the case on later in the book, her emotions wouldn't seem that deep after briefly meeting for a few moments of screen time on the show. Also, I need this poster, but sadly the BBC are the worst at merch, so I'll probably never get it. The captain of the ship has arrived. Robin is showing Ilsa the flat she wants to buy, but of course Ilsa steers the conversation towards how much Robin and Cormoran love each other. She is so me-coded.
Yeah. Went to kiss me.
Oh my god! Okay, it's happening! Everybody stay calm! What's the procedure, everyone?
Oh my god.
Robin doesn't say she loves him, and just for the record, I think she's wrong here. I don't think Corm would have regretted it. However, he is not in a place for a relationship, nor is he good enough for my girl right now. Man needs to get his shit together first. There's no mention of Ilsa's pregnancy at all, which was weird. Do I prefer the champagne night out love confession scene from the book? Of course, but this was a lovely scene showing these two as friends and setting up Robin moving house. Another book change is Pat noticing that Strike has an overnight bag, and Robin not seeming to care all that much. I much prefer her sudden realisation that he is dating someone and that she is in love with him from the book, and I strangely love how annoyed she seems by the revelation. Like, she is far too busy to be in love with her business partner right now, oh my god, and feelings are hugely inconvenient when she has crimes to solve. Then Pat drops the news that our mystery is, dun dun dun, actually a murder. Because it's got to be a murder, right?
No, love. She's been murdered.
and Robin is devastated. Pat, being the office mum they all need, immediately gets Strike, knowing that Robin will require hugs and cups of tea from him. Not that this man has the guts to just reach out and touch her. Yet. But I'm confident he'll get there eventually. Robin, who in The Cuckoo's Calling was shooketh by Strike's dark humour, drops a humorous cope of her own with,
If I keeled over every time someone was stabbed in London, I'd spend half my life unconscious.
The cops come to see what Robin knows about Edie, and the character of DCI Ryan Murphy has had his name changed to Richard for the adaptation. Richard, aka Dick. They changed his name to DCI Dick. I was already laughing at DCI Dick when I noticed that Strike is sat like he's doing his best little teapot impression this entire scene. Robin flexes her deduction skills in this meeting, and not to be outdone, Strike scopes out Darlish as MI5. Even over whiskey, which is Strellacott's sacred ground, the relationship between these two is rocky, which could 100% be solved with a simple conversation about their feelings, but these two are allergic to those. Strike watches Robin out the window sadly, which is a nice little callback to Lethal White that I wouldn't have noticed if not for this excellent gift set on Tumblr. Robin is crying in a cafe watching YouTube, which is hugely relatable, while Strike watches the edgy comedy to far-right pipeline journey Wally Cardew went on. DCI Dick pops by the office to flirt with Robin, and this man has a 0 on his charisma stat. The acting/directing choices here are so funny, like Robin could not give less of a shit that this man exists.
I don't know who this man is. Sorry to this man.
It's nice seeing you again.
Half an hour into the episode, the agency is officially hired to investigate, and we meet Edie's vulture of an uncle. In the book, he left Edie in foster care despite seemingly being quite well off, and then swoops in for the profits from the ink black heart after her death, which is all left out of the show, but we still get the picture that this guy is a huge DCI. The projector is back, and Robin gives a TED talk succinctly laying out all the main players for viewers. Well, all apart from the actual murderer, who isn't even on the first suspect board. Tom Burke's acting in this scene is so great because this man definitely has zero idea what Twitter is IRL. Robin/Jessica is off to do an art class, and Pat mentions she's down to work 60 hours this week. Robin laments that they need to find more people, which begs the question, where's Dev? Either the TV show didn't want to handle introducing Midge and Dev at the same time in their wee 4-ish hour allotment for this story, or they wanted to save the actor budget this time around.
How's she going to find a boyfriend if she never stops working?
Maybe she's shagging Strike.
She's got more sense than that.
Strike is following the far right twat and is limping because this man has not been looking after himself at all. At art class we meet Pez.
A penis is far less challenging than a hand.
This show about gruesome murders has no right to be this funny. Can confirm that every art class ever finishes with drinks in a kitchen. I think this character is meant to be Worm/Zoe from the book. Little sad she didn't make it into the TV show as her arc is tragic. Over 1,000 pages of book into about 4 hours of a TV show. Sadly, cuts must be made. Pez knows a bad bish when he sees one and immediately asks Robin/Jessica out. Take notes, Cormoran. Midge gets the game log on from her crappy ex, and visually the game is far cooler than I had imagined. It's got an animated style to fit in with being based on the in-world cartoon, and the voice effects add to the whole detached from reality creepiness of the online anonymous Ink Black Heart fandom. Illustrator Victoria Budget worked on the storyboards with animation specialist Studio Orca to create the game visuals. Both of their websites have more about the production and finished animations. I'll link to them below. Strike fucks up his surveillance because of the aforementioned not looking after himself and gets into a bit of a kerfuffle. Strike beating up Nazis? If you're enjoying this nonsense, give the video a like and subscribe to the channel, but don't hit the bell because you have enough notifications in your life already. Strike uses a big brain of his to quickly pretend that he's a copper wearing a wire and calls for backup. Closing his username BuffyPaws, Robin encounters Anime, who immediately asks her a trick question. So paranoid, these murderers, and then makes a dramatic ass murder confession to end episode 1. Heavy amounts of cuts need to be made for the television adaptations to work. That's a given and something you have to be able to accept to really enjoy TV and movie adaptations overall. I personally love these as an accompaniment to the books, but I get why some people just can't stand them. Cutting all of Worm/Zoe and her abuser from the story does remove a certain amount of weight from the piece overall, but other little changes were positive, like Pat being the one to notice Strike's overnight bag, which was an excuse for her to continue being a comedy queen.
It's called success syndrome. Once all your bills are paid and you're on top of your game, you start filling the void with booze and unsuitable women and cigarettes.
And putting Ilsa in the scene with a new flat upgraded her relationship with Robin from gals who do lunch/drinks to besties who do mundane stuff like help each other move house. Overall, I think this was a solid episode 1, setting up the murder mystery, showing the fallout of Strike and Robin's absolutely was a date night, and the agency flourishing. But where was Dev? Where was mention of Prudence? Also, the lack of a partner's desk is a crime, and I will be pressing charges against everyone at both Bronte and the BBC. Anyways, my score for this episode, 9.5 out of 10. Needed more Dev and more desk. But that's just how my brain reacted. Tell me how yours processed all of this below if you like. Okay, love you, bye!